I utterly destroyed a man's business, his reputation, and I even cost him his house. It took me about a year to turn his thriving company into a dead cow. And it all started when he refused to pay me for the website I built. This all went down in the early 2000s. Back then, I was a freelance front-end developer and a genuine search engine optimization guru. Getting a website to the front page of Google was a different game. It was simpler. But you had to know the rules. While many were engaging in risky link exchanging schemes, I had a secret weapon. I owned a single, powerful website that had immense PageRank clout because it was linked as a trusted source by one of the most respected websites in the world. For my best clients, I would use this site to grant them a link, catapulting their own websites past older, more established competitors in the search rankings. One day, I was approached by a man we'll call Rick. Rick was in the business of selling travel packages and needed a major overhaul for his basic existing website. He wanted a complex site with some seriously tricky back-end coding. I could handle the front-end design, the part users see and interact with. But I needed to hire a specialized back-end developer to build the heavy-duty functionality. The timeline was brutal. Rick had a major launch in just 1 month. And the site had to be ready. Normally, I require a 25% deposit up front. But Rick flatly refused. He claimed the last developer he hired had burned him. And he wasn't going to risk losing any more money. From the very first moment I met him, my gut screamed that this would end badly. But the truth was, I needed the work. The project was worth a lot of money, both for me and for the developer I was bringing on. So, I made a fateful compromise. I skipped the deposit on the explicit promise that he would pay in full before the site was transferred to his server. Rick readily agreed. For the next month, my dev and I were in the trenches. We worked day and night, sometimes pulling all-nighters, to meet his insane deadline. With just a single day to spare, we did it. I had never been prouder of a project. What we had built was a work of art, both in form and function. I was genuinely excited to show Rick. The next day, I sent him a link to the finished site on my private test server. He called me, and his tone was positive. "Everything looks good," Rick said. But then came the hook. He was worried his server's PHP version, that's the coding language that powers the backend, might be too old to run the site. I assured him it would be fine. But he feigned anxiety, saying he was too scared it would break and that we would wash our hands of it. We went back and forth. But he was adamant, the site had to be uploaded and tested on his server before he would part with a single penny. I discussed it with my dev. Neither of us liked it. But we were so close to the finish line. We reluctantly agreed to upload the work. Rick gave me his FTP and server login details, and I transferred every file. I messaged him to let him know it was live on his server, ready for final testing. And then, silence. I sent several emails. No response. I started calling. Every call went straight to voicemail. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. Sensing a major problem, I rushed to my computer and fired up my FTP program to delete our work from his server. I logged in, navigated to the directory, and hit delete. The response came back in cold. Digital letters, access denied. He had changed the passwords. He had locked us out. The very next day, He launched his new travel business using our work. For days, I tried calling, fueled by a growing rage. Then, one morning, he answered. His voice was smug and dismissive. "Listen," he said. "I'm not ever going to pay you. And there is nothing you can do about it." Then he hung up. I stood there, phone in hand, just shaking. Rage was an understatement. For the next hour, I paced my office, my vocabulary of expletives growing in complexity with every step. Then, as I sat there, stewing in my fury and figuring out what to do, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. The perfect revenge. I immediately registered a new domain name. If his website was, say, rickstravel.com, I bought rickstravelsucks.com. I then uploaded an exact mirror of his live website, our work, onto my new domain. And then, I brought out my secret weapon. I used my all-powerful mega PageRank domain to create a single, potent link pointing directly to my new sucks domain. This move reveals Rick's greatest fatal flaw, his belief that everyone else was as dishonest and short-sighted as he was. He couldn't conceive of someone playing the long game. Someone whose principles weren't for sale. And that ignorance would ultimately seal his fate. Within a month, the results were devastating for him. My rickstravelsucks.com website jumped above his official site in Google for every conceivable search phrase related to the travel packages he sold. No matter what you typed in, my site was the first result. And his was always right below it. But I wasn't done. During that same month, I created a second website. This one was even more personal. Rick had a somewhat unusual full name. So I registered Rick's full name, sucks.com. On this site, I laid out the entire story, posting screenshots of his emails and warning everyone what a conman he was. And just like before, thanks to a link from my power domain, within a month, my takedown site was outranking his own personal website. After that, I just let my creations do their work and forgot about it. About 4 months later, I got a cease and desist email from a supposed law firm. A quick Google search confirmed my suspicion: the firm was completely made up. It didn't exist. I replied with a simple message, echoing his own words back to him: "I'm not ever going to take them down, and there is nothing you can do about it." Over the next few months, my inbox started filling up with emails from other people Rick had conned. They had paid for travel packages that were never booked. I published every single one of their stories on both of my websites, making sure that those juicy, important keywords, his full name and his company name, were liberally sprinkled throughout each negative review. A few more months passed, and he tried a new tactic. I received an anonymous email linking to a new domain. My name sucks.com. The email said if I removed my 2 websites, he would remove this new one. I did a quick search. The site wasn't even indexed on Google. It was a ghost. No one could find it. For the second time, I replied with his own cold dismissal. My revenge sites were now a magnet for his victims. As the months passed, more and more people emailed me saying they'd been ripped off. And I kept adding their stories to the pile. It turned out the travel agency world is highly regulated. An industry association launched a formal investigation into Rick's company, using my website as their primary tool. That's when I got the call I'd been waiting for. It was Rick. And he was not a happy man. He was a desperate man. He pleaded. He literally begged me to take the sites down. He whined that it wasn't just the official investigation. He had important friends who were not happy about the bad press he was generating in their circles. Then came the offer: he would pay me the money he owed. Not a penny more. Just what he originally owed. He thought he could just buy his way out of the hole he dug. He failed to understand that it was no longer about the money for me. It was about principle. Him knowing that my silence couldn't be bought must have driven him insane. Because money was the only thing he understood or cared about. With a massive smile on my face, I savored the moment and delivered the final blow. Using his own words for the third time: listen. I'm not ever taking them down, and there is nothing you can do about it. As one online commenter later put it, this was the moment I retained the moral high ground. I could have demanded double the money and then ghosted him. But proving a point was so much sweeter. A few more months rolled by. I discovered his travel company had been kicked out of all the travel associations. My websites completely dominated his online presence. All the bad reviews on my sites were the first thing any potential customer would see. I had crippled his business so badly that it went bust. During the collapse, one of his ex-employees contacted me. He told me Rick had frantically registered dozens of other domains, hoping to somehow outrank my revenge sites. But he didn't understand the power I wielded. Only a link from one of the top dozen websites in the world could have competed. The ex-employee also told me that Rick's personal property was tied to loans on the failing business. He lost his house, too. It took me just about a year to turn his cash cow into a dead cow. The motto of the story is simple: if you ever think about messing with a developer, just don't. This story really is inspirational. It's a masterclass in how knowledge, when wielded with principle, is the ultimate power. So, let me ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? When he finally broke down and offered the money, would you have taken it? Or was proving a point the only victory that mattered?